You eat two of these.
Hey, we live.
Oh, hey.
We live. hey, y'all. We was cutting up in the back room, what they call, I guess, the green room. Hey, welcome to another episode from His Lips to Her Ears, Black Men Raising Daughters. I've got Eric Murphy here with us in the studio, Frederick Robinson in the studio, me, Dr. Jason. Hey, this is the first night that we have had just alphas on. Usually, the rest of the team, some of them are Greek, but, the first night it's just been the bros. So super excited about
some smoke, cold smoke.
Yeah. Out of nowhere, I need a gorilla to just come out of the background.
Super excited about tonight. We won't keep you guys long, but we definitely want to continue the momentum of this great series. Those who joined us last week, we had a very impromptu session. We were talking about Black men discuss life after Trump, and we didn't get a chance to even touch on everything. But go back and listen to it. It was about probably 75 to 90 minutes worth of discussion, dialogue, rhetoric, our thoughts, opinions about that situation. And so now he's out of office, and so now there's still more work to be done, right? I don't think that the changing of the guards means that there's no work to do. The changing of the guards means that the work begins. And like my brother Fred and brother Murph know that, when we crossed those burning sands of A5A, the work then started, right? People who come into the fold of fraternity or sorority and think that the hard work is in pledging. No, the hard work is not there. The hard work is after you cross those burning sands. Would y'all agree?
Yeah, totally. That's when the real work begins.
Yeah. I always tell people it's not becoming an alpha man, it's being an alpha man.
That's right.
That's the joke.
Yeah. So tonight, I'm going to kind of moderate because these two brothers are, light years ahead of me in the sense that they have daughters who are either in the teenage years, or for Fred has transitioned out of the teenage years into adult years. And so this will be great information for me to really glean from these two gentlemen, and also for you. Those who are joining us for the first time, Black Men Raising Daughter web series. This is not just an opportunity for y'all to learn. I mean, everybody on this episode will be learning, from Reggie to Lamar to Cory, who are not here tonight. All six of us. I mean, we would be dropping nuggets and taking notes. And I tell you, there are times that the six of us are texting each other through the week like, hey, remember when you said that? Hey, I actually went back and replayed the video because, you said something that I really wanted to implement in my life. And so isn't it amazing that you can belong to a circle of friends that actually listen to one another, right? We ain't just sitting in the room talking. We're actually applying the things that we learn from one another. And so it's Eric's years, it's Fred's years, it's Cory's years, it's Reggie, Lamar, all those years and these experiences we're able to glean from one another. So I appreciate that.
Can I say from His Lips to Her Ears series, honest to God, I don't want to give y'all this much credit, man, but I have to say I love y'all for it. I honestly go through the mental Rolodex in my head when I'm dealing with issues with my wife or communication situations or whatever. I actually go through the mental Rolodex in my head to reference conversations that we have had to see if I can remember or glean something from your experience and dealing with and talking to women to see if I can honestly help me in my situation today. And I have been married for 33 years, and I still pay attention to and listen to these brothers as I get useful nuggets from everybody's experiences, man. I just find myself smiling, thinking about if they only knew. So now you know.
Yeah.
It is the truth.
Yeah. Before we get started, let me jump really quick and say, those who are joining us or those who will watch this later, your boy's been working very hard these last couple of months on a big project. It's called the Equity Summit. If it has not come across your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram yet, please go to www.theequitysummit.com. It is going to be a phenomenal time and experience next week, February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's a virtual conference, a virtual summit. We have over 130 speakers, 54 sessions, all in 3 days. And to the right of me, Brother Eric Murphy is actually going to be moderating one of the sessions with Kamar Aiken. Kamar Aiken is a former NFL player who's played for about 3 or 4 teams, and he has a phenomenal story. And Eric is going to be moderating that session. So it is a coming together, a gathering of thought leaders in education, public policy, and sports. And so if you have not heard about it, please go to www.theequitysummit.com, register. Ticket prices are super low. And for 6 months, even if you can't make all 54 live sessions, for 6 months following the conference, you will have access to all the videos. So we've had school districts, we've had presidents of colleges say we're going to be using these videos for professional development trainings, right? So if you are part of a school district, you're part of a institution of higher education, you work in a government agency, you work for a bank, you work in athletics, wherever you work, like anything related to conversations on equity, diversity, and inclusion, you're going to find a session that speaks to that. And I don't know, Eric, if you had to go through the agenda and look at all the great sessions that we have, bro, but it's crazy, man. It is absolutely.
I just know how you do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just know how you do it. So it's interesting for me. It almost makes me complacent because I'm like, should I look at it? No, because I already know it's going to be fire. It's funny you say what you said because I'm glad that I just posted this right here to live on my page on Facebook.
Yeah, I gotta do that too.
Because the cool thing is, I just got a call today from a school in Beckley. They want some help with some equity issues. So you saying that out loud, now there's a possible opportunity for them to utilize these as resources. And I know that the court system down in Charleston has been talking about equity amongst their foster care and other things. So I think there's a great opportunity to be able to utilize some of this. And I got a lot of cool friends on my Facebook page that I think get something out of this also. And I Fred, when you said what you said, man, the cool thing for me is to be on this with equally yoked men, to be able to discuss something where we all have our little niche, to be able to share something on an equal scale. So I dig that because there's no power plays. You know what I'm saying? There's no host. There's no host stuff. You know what I mean? I almost said host shit. I said it anyway. Sorry about that. But I don't have to worry about that host stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody's cool with it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's been phenomenal. But let's jump in, man. I really want to tap into this teenage years with the two of y'all because y'all both have had either daughters who are in their teenage years and then daughters who have transitioned out. And question number one for the both of you, and this is not like, it's in the litigation session or nothing, but I'm just curious, like how tough was it watching your daughter leave kind of like that adolescent 8, 9, 10-year-old stage and then move into the teenage years? Like, was that a tough transition? Did you feel like you were losing a sense of who you were because your daughter was evolving? Did you have to become someone different so that you could keep up with her or be more patient with her? So like, talk through that. And Eric, let's start with you because your daughter's still in her teens, and then I want Fred to jump in because his daughter is now out of her teens.
Yeah. Well, my daughter's 16. So, I was the best thing to chocolate milk at first. You know what I mean? Like, daddy's strong and all that good stuff. But then, as I told you guys, when I had my kids, I was already going through the counseling program. So I really wanted to utilize most of the tools and skill sets that I had learned. One of the things I really taught Mikey early was, I don't want to say it was the fervor moment of self-soothing, but it was definitely a very, so I'm reading a book right now, Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, right? And Marcus Aurelius is an emperor, and he talks about stoicism, and that's the philosophy of logic, right? I taught my daughter a lot of Stoic philosophy when she was young, and she didn't know I was teaching it to her. Because really, I would just give her what's the cost analysis. If you do this, what are you going to get out of that? So doing that from that very Spockish kind of position, I really did not have a lot of transitional stuff other than being aware of my ego. Like, I want to be the shit. Well, her peer group is going to be the shit. I'm not. So what can I do to play my role? Make sure she's safe, make sure she kicks it, make sure she has a good time, make sure that she understands boundaries. And I'm doing what I need to do and make sure that within that time period that I nurture my relationship with my significant other. That was probably the most important thing because I did not want my daughter to become my woman. I wanted my woman to be my woman and my daughter to be my wife leans on me and I lean on her. We have interdependence and we wanted our daughter to have autonomy. And I wanted her to see us do what we do so that she can understand how to do what she need to do. That was the extent of it, bro. I mean, I want to say there was more, but there is one little thing. My daughter had body. It still does. She's an athlete. That was always weird for me. And it still is. It still is. Because I'll choke up, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to choke you out, but I will choke you out with no hesitation. So to be to deal with that, but then my daughter is a quintessential smart kid, right? She's been student body president every year of every class she's been in. She's a junior. So from 5th or 6th grade up to now, she's been student body president, boom, boom, boom. And she's all honors and AP classes. So the weirdest thing for me was she's never dated. She's never had a kiss. She's never had any of those things.
Even now,
bro.
Wow.
And I can say my daughter's cute. Never been kissed.
Bro, I've been around your whole family. I mean, your entire family is beautiful, man. You and your wife, man, your son and your daughter, man, both attractive, both intelligent. You know.
Thank you. So yeah, that transitional for me was really the transition and diving more into my relationship with my significant other, bro. To teach my daughter something. Because now, you know, you need to, like, I don't want you hanging out with no bums. I don't want you hanging out with a dude that treats you different than I treat your mama. So I'm going to be real conscious of how I treat your mama. We're going to get in here and get these dishes. Your mom cooked for us.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. We're going to get here and get this living room together because your mom had a long day at work today. So why not? I got here before her. Let's get this house together. Right. Because I'm a do boy, but because it's my house too.
That's good. And so you're emulating for your daughter in her teenage years who she should be looking for when she decides to date, right?
Yes. That's show her what a man is by being the man, not pretending to be one or acting like one or trying to define it, but doing the actions of a man and the actions of a father and a partner, a significant other, a vulnerable male, an intimate male, all the different characteristics that we kind of look aside, like you gotta be strong and all this other shit. My goal was to be vulnerable and intimate.
That's good, bro. That's good. And I'm practicing vulnerability so much with my daughter, man. She's 12 weeks, 3 months. Where's the time gone? But even with my daughter, man, I'm the most vulnerable I have ever been. But I recognize that that's exactly who I need to be so that her development and her growth and her maturation is never stunted, right? The growth, maturation, and development is stunted because I would emulate gender norms.
Yes.
Men should do this and women should do this, right? and so she would be confused on gender norms. I'm like, no, we're gonna cross gender norms. Your daddy has emotions, your daddy's sensitive, your daddy cries, and it's okay.
And not okay because in spite of, it's okay just because it's damn okay.
That's right.
yeah. Fred, Fred, I saw you, Fred.
Fred ready. I see you, Fred ready.
Oh man, I'm just enjoying what y'all saying. Y'all some heavyweights. You know what? Dr. Ottley is so smooth, man. He put together a bunch of counselors just to show him how to pick. He's gonna be the perfect dad. Seriously, the advice you're giving is so great, man. And I ascribe to a whole lot of the things that you're saying. You basically are, you call it Spockian, I'll say. I'm a fan of Mr. Spock, always have been. Hey, bro, peace and long life, partner. That's right. But what you're doing is, and I appreciate so much, is you're teaching your daughter, not a child now, but your daughter, how to think. That's what you were doing. You were teaching her how to reason.
Yes.
I've been told before by my dear mom, son, life is about decisions and consequences.
That's right.
You need to take the variables that you have to deal with, put them together as best you can, solve for the unknowns as best you can, and try to come up with a conclusion or an answer that doesn't cost you more than you expected in life. And kids find out when you initially become a parent, your primary job is not to kill your infant. It secondarily becomes not to allow them to kill themselves once they're toddling around. Don't stick a key in the wall outlet, or eat a Tide Pod, You're trying to be the best parent you can. Then your job is to try to teach them how to be responsible, thoughtful, and rational, and not to kill themselves driving and numerous other ways, because the consequences get more severe the older you get. The consequences for their individual actions become more severe once they leave your watchful eye. They have to make their own decisions about what's safe and what's not.
That's right.
But Dr. J, to get to your question, and anyway, to top that off, what you were talking about, Ian, was just teaching your daughter how to think, man. And it's not sinister. That's how you parent, bro. That's how you parent. A young lady can take a foundation like that with her. You know what I mean? That's like taking a calculator with you. I tell you what, you're the calculator. If you just do all your kids' problem solving for them, you know, what's going to happen when they leave the TI calculator at home? If you don't know the math, if you don't know how to solve for X yourself, when your calculator is not there, then what?
Right.
We teach kids how to function on their own. To your question, Doc, you hit on some good points when you talked about the transition. And that's what I want to focus on right now, because I clearly remember the ages of around 11 and 12, right before my daughter hit about 13, when I wasn't sure who she was, and I'm not sure she knew who she was, because she was in this gray zone, this pre-adolescent phase where hormones are just starting to kickstart. She's starting to develop ideas of her own and wants to express them, learn how to express them in a way, we talked about this before, in the way that they will be received without, getting a scar or a knot on your head. You know what I mean? So you have to adjust and transition as a parent, because you have to be prepared to hear, well, I'm only going to do so-and-so because yada, 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 or they're also doing it, or they'll be there. So-and-so is going to be there, so it should be okay. Mm-hmm. You have to start, as much as it may pain you, you have to start to reason with your kids more, and in a little bit more adult way, because they're approaching adolescence where they're going to start wanting a little more space. So you really need to step up the whole Spocky and Jedi mind trick of helping your children think their way through situations. You also have to not forget, and this is the danger, is forgetting what it was like to be a child. And not so much a child, but pre-adolescent, when hormones really start to get turned on, and you're moving into, you're passing 12, you're becoming 13, and now things are happening to your body. You got to deal with periods and things as they start. And fortunately for me, my wife dealt with that. Although a funny story, my daughter wasn't one of the ones who when she had her first period, was locked in the house for a week, or, in the bed, sucking her thumb and like coming to an end and begging for a hysterectomy at 13. I remember driving home, turning the corner. I had a BMW Roadster convertible. I'm shades on, laid, you know what I mean? Top down. I come around the curve. My daughter's on the sidewalk with her friend, and she hollers, Dad, I got my period. Going like that the rest of the way. But she didn't freak out about that. Those are just things you have to go through. But the big thing is to allow your parenting to mature, and it needs to. The trick is realizing when it's happening, and also not overly censoring your child for this burgeoning attempt at growing up. You know what I mean? You have to realize what's happening, realize the transition, and transition with them.
That's good.
Those questions are not necessarily always out of defiance. They're legitimate questions that need to be answered in a more mature way.
That's good, man. That's good. I don't know if our parents knew that, Fred and Eric. When you think back to just your upbringing, I don't think my parents understood that I was evolving, that I was growing. It was almost like evolution and growth was attached to an age. And we all, and all three of us know, Fred, you're in healthcare, Eric, you're in counseling. All of us know that it's never attached to an age, because we grow and mature in different stages, right? And every child is different. And so this whole comparison thing, well, you should be more like your brother, you should be more like your sister, right? We hurt our children by doing that. And so I love how you said, Fred, that we have to learn how to grow and evolve with our children and not the other way around. Right. So many parents today are saying our children should grow and evolve with us. But honestly, I don't want my daughter to be like me. I want her to be better than me. Yeah. Way better than me. So if I want her to grow and evolve, I need to evolve with her as opposed to her evolving with me. Because if she evolves with me, then she becomes me. I don't want her to become me.
The thing is, you have to respect who they're becoming, and you have to value that. Our job as parents is to take these young ladies and make them the best of what they're capable of becoming. But you have to be accepting of who they are. And I have met, I knew a young lady who, as a 4 or 5-year-old, was fierce. I mean, fierce. Her and her brother used to have the worst knockdown, drag out fights. I saw this girl chase this boy across their front yard with a baseball bat in her hand, and he was running for his life. And when I saw him running by, and when I saw him run by, hell, I asked myself, should I be running too? Because he looked real serious. You know what I mean? I was like, ah! He was like, and I was like, well, hell, maybe I should just follow him and figure it out later. You know what I'm saying? And then she came behind him, and I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, run, man. You know, yeah, because she's going to kill you. Mm-hmm. That's not always awful. When you're a kid, you have to realize that for what it is. If you have that type of passion about anything, that type of fierce determination, you need to take that and steer it in a positive way. This girl could be the next civil rights leader, but she's got to become passionate about the right thing.
That's right.
You have to identify what those passions are in your children, what those pluses are, and build them up.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that was funny when you say that, bro, you know, when my daughter, I said this in an earlier show, one of the things I did early, and I still do with my kids, is I affirm the verb. So affirming the verb, meaning I talk to them about the actions I see them taking and asking them what are the consequences of that action. So from a very early time, so Mikey played soccer, and she was always built like Earl Campbell, right? Big butt, big thighs, big calves. Always. She's been that person. And, you know, she won a few young ladies of color out there playing soccer here. So for a minute there, she was like, Dad, why isn't my butt like everybody else's? Why is my butt so big and this and that? I'm like, blame that on your mama, because I'm lacking in the back. But what I do know is, what are you getting out of comparing yourself to other people? Mm-hmm. I had to ask her, like, let me ask you, are you one of the fastest girls on your team? Yes. What do you think that comes from? Like, how do you move fast? Like, what is that? Is that muscle? And she's like, well, yeah, Dad, muscles make things too. I said, what is your butt? She's like, a lot of muscle. I said, huh. So you're telling me that you're acting on the muscle that you have. Huh. So what do you get out of comparing yourself to somebody who has less muscle than you? And she'd be like, I don't know. I said, I know what did you get. She's like, what? I said, you get to try to be a sheep, and you're never going to be one. It's never going to work. So you can figure this out, or you can listen to me and just think about the math in the equation. What are the variables within the equation? And she stopped comparing herself. And it was really that stoic philosophy about affirming the verb. And a lot of times when we talk about growing up as a parent, I got to know I don't know shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to know that. Like, so I'm going to disclose something. I don't know if I should do this right now because I think some people are watching this that I know. Just the other night, my daughter was in a situation where there was alcohol at a thing that she was at. My wife and I were like, should we punish her ass for 2 months? Like, just shut everything down. Mm-hmm. Nah. Because I saw the text messages. She didn't want to lie to us. She wanted to tell us the truth. This and that. I was 16. I was having sex at 16. My daughter, there was people who had white claws, like a Zima. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you know, Dad, I said, look, man. I said, here's the challenge I'm going to tell you. Is it illegal? Yes. Do you think I'm cool with illegal shit? No. So you're telling me that you did something that you had fun with your friends, or that your friends had fun, but you know that in the bigger picture, the game about to change. She's like, yes. And then she came to me today and was like, Dad, I'm never going to mess up like that again. I did not want to lie to you guys. I did not want to, you know, I wanted to have fun with my friends. And I was like, hey, man, you're 16, have fun. don't be a freaking idiot. Look at the math. And she was like, got it. I was like, no need to harp. Now I gotta let her fly. I gotta let her fly. I gotta
example, Murphy, evolving with your daughter, man, because I tell you, like in my household growing up, y'all's households too, like it wouldn't have been a conversation. It would have been 2, 3 months. You grounded, right? Or whatever. Right. So that's a great example of evolving, I think, with your daughter, man. And then the lesson that she learns from that, it kind of goes into part 3. We'll get into that in a minute. But question 3, it talks about, when do you know your daughter is ready for autonomy? When is she ready for her own independence? Right. And so, you know, I think that there is yet another transition into autonomy and into independence, and what that looks like related to, when do you stop grounding them? When do you actually have conversations with them about how the real world is, right? When you start hearing things like they were out drinking, or they were joyriding, or they snuck out the house. What do you do in those instances? Because initially we were like, want to, you know, jump down their throat, but does that help them in their maturation? Does it help them in their growth? Actually, does it help them not do that same thing again?
It doesn't.
Because we're trying to curtail bad behavior. But Fred, I'm thinking we're actually fueling the fire for bad behavior in our reaction.
I'm thinking too, and I can't wait for you to go through this stuff, man. I just want to hear it. That's why I'm smiling. I just want to see your face. I want to talk to you again. And 12, 13 years. But man, you were onto some really good stuff tonight. And you were right when you said that talking about the teenage years would be fun. Oh man, you have to realize if you want to raise an intelligent, autonomous, thoughtful, reasoning individual, young lady, there's a risk you have to take. To sometimes spare the rod and the punishment thing, and demand that your child respect you simply because you're respecting them. Right. And a certain amount of, if you really are teaching your kid how to think, if you're really teaching your child to use their mind to reason, and you're illustrating that you respect their ability to reason and think, then a reasonable, thoughtful child, after you've laid the foundation, I think in most cases will feel accountable to you.
Yes.
Or accountable, because you gave them some rope. They made a mistake, but you refuse to take it back to the degree. You refuse to punish them inconsiderately and overly harshly.
That's good.
Kids owe you for that.
That's
you
right.
know, and they realize that when situations could have been made so much worse for them, and inside you can see them breathe a sigh of relief. A couple of things happen. Number one, it doesn't isolate them from you, and it doesn't push them away from you, and it makes them more likely to continue to confide in you, trust you, and talk to you. And even it helps preempt bad decisions, because if a kid is thinking of something that they think is potentially dumb, they would probably, if approached right prior to this, they will probably talk to you without fear of ridicule.
That's right.
And they would say, well, she's not, or he's not going to call me stupid. He's not going to make fun of me or cuss me or tell me what an idiot I am. If you've shown the habit of, the practice of listening to your kid and letting them talk to you in their own childish way, like an adult would, and you reason with them like an adult would, and just like you, in that Spockian method of yours, help them reason their way through these situations. They may even come to you and allow you to help them preempt dumbass mistakes.
Damn, Fred.
Number two, because you treat them with this respect, they are more inclined to go, what would daddy do?
Yes.
What would you tell him to do? Right? I'm not going to do this, because if I talk to daddy about this, he would tell me what it was like. And no matter how much I want to do it, I know that it's stupid. And he would let me talk myself out of it. He would let me talk myself out of it.
Bro.
And as a result of that, I'm going to do what's going to make him proud. And I'm not going to do it. And then I'm going to tell him about I had the opportunity to do it. And
right.
I did. So
that's the key right there, man. And then I'm going to tell him what I had an opportunity to do. That's key, Fred. Because I tell you, there's a lot of conversations, man, you know, growing up where young girls will say, I never told my mom. I never told my dad. I heard a story today, man. You know, one of my closest and dearest friends was talking to me today about how someone that they knew, that they mentored, a young lady, was raped in middle or high school, in school, right? And so when you think about that for a minute, if a young girl doesn't have a strong relationship with her father or parent, period, it could be, maybe it was my fault that this happened to me. What did I do to bring this on to me, right? And the relationship that your daughters have with you, Fred, and you, Murph, I know you'd probably be the first person that they would have called, right? And but then I had to deal with myself when I was listening to the story. I had to deal with myself, I'll tell you, brothers, to be honest, of how I would react as a man and as a father, how I would react if my baby girl had to tell me something so egregious, right? I start thinking like, man, I've had a good life. God has blessed me, favored me. But if it's over now because I'm protecting my daughter, then it is what it is. Right? I'm good with that. And not that every man has to adopt that. Every man doesn't have to adopt that. But I just know how I'm built. You know, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This is my seed, right? And you took something from my seed that didn't belong to you. Now, as a father, I'm accountable. And I use that story is a very, very sad story. But think about all the other moments in life that we as fathers are held accountable because of things that happen to our daughters that we either step up to the plate and deal with, or we say, "Oh, I'm gonna let their mama deal with that."
Right, bro. You know, it's funny, Fred, when you said something. One of the things I knew with my daughter as a teenager now, and even when she was 12 or so, I knew I had no power over her. But what I did know is I had the opportunity to have influence over her. I don't have power because she's going to make a decision. She's going to do some shit. I ain't going to know nothing about that. But what I do know is I can have influence over her decision making by what I have role model for her. Right. So I never really have worried too much. But then Mikey has seen me act in a very very purposeful way of intimidation. And she knew what I was doing the whole time. Like, daddy's thinking about intimidating this man in a way that this dude's going to cower down, because I did it for my babysitter was 20-some years old. And my daughter saw me handle one of the guys, not in a way that was aggressive or any of that stuff. It was very much psychological warfare. You think that my babysitter's thick. That's awesome. You're telling her surrogate father that you think that she's thick. Huh. How do you think I should take that? Are you telling me she's an athlete? Or are you telling me she got a nice butt? Because if you're telling me that she has a nice butt, and you're telling me that, you got the game messed up, bro. And my daughter watched that whole thing go down and was laughing because she saw me pull a $20 out of my I don't biker tights, compression shorts. I pulled a 20 out of my biker tights. They was next to my skin. Mikey was like, "Dad, why did you give me money? It was hot. Was it hot?" I said, "It was hot." She's like, "Why'd you do that?" I said, "Because he's mine." She was like, "Dad, you ain't right." I'm like, "I know I ain't right." But wait, man, I digress. I apologize for that.
I can't unsee that.
The influence of power part is what I went to go to. I went on a whole different over here someplace. But I think that the only thing we can do is have that influence on them. But, I know what I was going to say. A lot of times the whole power shit comes into play because we have never seen a man role model what it is to be influential.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. How many times you met a dude that said, "I'm trying to be a dude," but they never seen a dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They never seen a dad do that. So what they're trying to do is be somebody that they've never seen.
That's good.
And I've seen it. So the biggest thing I've learned doing therapy and stuff was to be vulnerable, but my vulnerability was like water, right?
Yeah.
Water can be a solid, it can be gas, it can be liquid.
Right.
I've learned to do my thing and ebb and flow.
Yeah.
in a way that I knew. Like I got that. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
And even if they've seen it, if they've seen power,
right?
They haven't seen influence.
Right. They haven't seen influence.
No. Because even growing up, I love my father. He's been gone 3 years. Love him to death. But all I saw was power, because that's all he knew. Not even him to blame. That's all he knew.
Yes.
Right. So the game changes when men, strong black men, can shift from I'm just as powerful. Actually, I'm even more powerful when I shift from power to influence.
Bruh, when you say that, it's funny. I do a lot of therapy with men, right? And one of the things like men always ask me, man, how can I be the man? I said, stop trying. Stop trying. Ask this woman, how can I help you to be happier today? Ask that. I ask my daughter all the time, how's life? She thinks I'm weird when I ask her. I ask her all the time, how's your life? Like, how do you think this is for you, this life that you're in right now? And she said, what do you mean right now? I'm like, well, we'll talk about that another time. But in this current life that you're in, how is it? And what's the hardest thing you've dealt with? And she'll tell me, and I'm like, well, how did you handle it? And really what I'm doing is helping her dissect the math equation. It's like a debriefing. The hardest part for me, Fred and Jay, is being human. Sometimes I catch myself so Spockian that I know I come off. My wife tells me all the time I sound cold.
Yeah,
there's no emotion in that.
Hey man, I have issues too. I have issues with that too, Eric. I have issues with that too. I wonder sometimes if I under emote, or if I'm too reserved, or if I'm too thoughtful or stoic, or I don't allow myself to. I give an example. I was at a comedy club one day, and I'm maybe sometimes a bit overly analytical. The comic on stage, he's killing it. Dude was funny as hell. I mean, I was loving it, but all I was doing was saying, "That's funny."
Yes.
That's shit. You know what I mean? And I kept looking at my wife because I loved everything he was doing. I make people laugh, so I appreciate people who can make people laugh. You know, this dude wasn't stealing none of my material. You know, he was doing his own stuff, and he was doing it well. And I kept looking at my wife like, "Homeboy is killing it." You know, he's funny as shit. And we were so close to the stage, the guy was like, "Wait a minute, why aren't you laughing?" You know, he finally looked at me and said, "You keep telling me how funny I am, but you're not laughing." I was like, "Yeah, but bro, seriously, you are killing it." You know?
You're hilarious.
He was like, "There's something wrong with you." And he told the whole person, "This guy, so he keeps telling me I'm hilarious, and he hasn't laughed one time." But I'm just, you know what I mean? I know exactly what you mean.
Fred, you hit a grand slam with that. Because look, we about to go with this. You talking about, you said that I'm funny, but you're not laughing. To our daughters, you say you love me, but I haven't seen it.
Nice.
I haven't seen it. No, I don't care about the Louis bag you bought me. I don't care about the fact that you took us to Cabo, Mexico last year for vacation. No. I'm talking about love. You say you love me, but you haven't seen it.
For our viewers, I just want to say that's some good moderating right there. Because Eric was like going down a rabbit hole of craziness, and then he just moderated this right back.
He pulled it right out of there. I appreciate that.
Just right back around. But that's very true. You have to remember to look at your kids, man. I keep saying this. And keep loving them, even when they become a pain in the ass. Because I shouldn't say a pain in the ass, but when they become typical, and I will tell you this.
When they're growing, when they're evolving.
Yes, Lord.
That's what they're doing. They're not a pain in the ass. They're just trying to figure this thing out called life.
Exactly. Boundaries out. Yeah.
I remember one thing that was startling actually to me at like after 11 and 12 comes 13. When Jolie turned like 13, at 11 and 12, you see them start to sort of metamorphosize. They go into this chrysalis or whatever, like a little like a moth or something. They just spin a cocoon and go in there and they start changing, you know, slowly. They're changing right before your eyes. So, and then what comes out is this not necessarily real attractive looking caterpillar-like thing. You know what I mean? That's a young teenager. right? Some of them are kind of interesting looking because they got the little furry, colorful things on them and stuff like that. Some of them got a little poison spike right here on the head. You never know what day that's going to pop up or whatever. But one thing that I noticed about my daughter, she was just this perfect little kid coming up, smart. Yes, daddy. No, no, mommy. Yes, daddy. No, daddy. Whatever. But at about 13, she became remarkably what I would just call typical. Like typical teenage behavior between 13, 14, especially around 15. Knew everything, the world revolved around her, especially mean to her brother, and I'm sure her fiance who watches this show weekly will get a kick out of telling her about this. Sorry, but Jolie, it's all true. She's particularly, mean to her brother. Her and her mom's relationship got kind of tense because my daughter was constantly in an argumentative mood with her, but it was like a phase, just a phase of learning who we now are. We have to learn who we are as parents and get accustomed to parenting one way. And these kids have to learn what their limits are, because the question Q3 has said, when your daughter was ready for autonomy and independence? Well, age, 13, 14, 15 doesn't, 15-year-old girl is not necessarily more mature than a 13-year-old girl. Hello, beautiful.
What's up, Mikey? Hey, Mike, you might as well come back. I mean, you ain't just gonna do just impromptu. Hey, what's up?
How are you doing? Beautiful. Yes, all that stuff.
She's my twin. She's my twin.
Y'all are twins, man.
No, this is evidence that there is a God.
I gotta get showered.
Please.
And she showers.
Yeah, brother, the funniest thing is, man, I talk to her like, I'll be like, yeah, peace out, yo. Have a good evening. She's like, okay, Dad. And I'm like, well, and my friend's like, man, you talk to her like one of the fellas. Like, well, I talk to her like I love her. I talk to her very common. I talk to her because I don't have to. There is no need to do anything extra. My love is basic.
No, but you yourself. You're not pretending.
I don't change.
You don't have to pretend to be some dude trying to be some great father who loves her. Bro. You're just a great father who loves a great daughter.
Fred, if there was one thing that we could give these dudes who watch this, and I think the women too, there's two things of advice that I've given a lot of people. For women, a lot of times I would tell them the resentment they feel towards the man who helped them create that child cannot be projected on the child. You cannot worry about your daughter choosing a man like the man you chose. You have to give them better equations, better math. For a dude, I tell dudes all the time, quit trying to be the man and be willing to be the man that you are and ask questions.
Bro, can you just can you just on the shield, bro? Can you just like rewind that just for a second and talk the math? I mean, because we got a lot of like former dope boys who are probably watching this and they understand numbers and they understand math, right? And this is the three of us saying we don't care what lifestyle you came out of, as long as whatever you came out of is now supporting, the daughter you're raising.
Right? Tendencies, man, is you could be a good dad if you understand the math.
Yeah. So go back to that algorithm thing. You dropped a whole lot when you said that, man.
Bro, I don't even remember what I said to you, brother.
You were talking about like how the game changes, and so the algorithm has to change.
Yeah. Well, it's a developmental stage, right? So the whole thing for her is she's in identity versus role conformity. So she's going to either be the sheep like everybody else, or she's going to be a wolf. And I hope that I taught her to be a wolf. The other part to it is she is leaning into. I already made some. I already made one. I just had it. Hold on. The other part.
We didn't get the sloppy Joe. So tell.
You have to eat something or I can give one to Emerson.
Give one to Emerson.
Dr. Murphy. Dr. Murphy. We didn't get the sloppy Joe. So what's up?
This is man night, bro. This is man night. Bro. She always trying to steal my shine anyway. But and the other thing is identity versus role conformity, and then you got intimacy versus isolation. That's the next piece. And really, what that's saying is, what do I love about myself that my mom and daddy didn't tell me, or that people can't see?
What? Wow. How does one discover that?
Huh?
How does he discover that?
You discover that by affirming the verb, bro. I see you made. Mikey's made straight A's. She's only made one B her whole life, and Emerson's never made a B, and they're all in honors classes. And Mikey one time used to be like, "Dad, look at this A I made." I'm like, "That's what's up." She's like, "You ain't got nothing to say about it?" Well, I do. How many hours did you study? I studied every night, 2 hours a night. Huh? How many outlines did you do? I did one a night. How many hours of sleep did you get? I got a good night's sleep. Did you play with your brother? Yes. Did you take time to relax? Yes. So what should my expectation be?
I because you did all those things.
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm gonna help her analyze the math, the equation that helped her have a successful outcome.
That's good.
That's it. And I'm her dude. Like, she know her friends all think I'm cool, and they know I'm not. I'll choke your ass out. Like, let it be known. You mess up.
And the algorithm works the other way around too, Murph. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Yes.
You got 2 hours of sleep. You studied 10 minutes a night, right? You didn't spend time with your family. You spent all your time with your friends, and you got a D. And my response to you is, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
I'm not even mad. That just sounds about right.
And here's the crazy thing. When you don't get mad and you give them the math, you got to own that now. Because Daddy didn't even get mad.
Exactly.
Right, Fred? Daddy shows self-control. Daddy shows stability. Daddy showed an ability to see it from a different vantage point. Daddy stayed stable. You the one unstable right now. You know why you're unstable? Because you did shit that made your math messed up.
If you're just joining us and you're listening to the From His Lips to Her Ears, Black Men Raising Daughters, Teenage Years, you got to go back and replay this. I mean, I know Fred replays every episode. He does that religiously, and he lets us know where we did well and where we didn't. But I don't always do that. But I'm telling you, tonight, I got to go back and replay this, because between Fred and y'all both just dropped a whole lot of nuggets, man, a lot of revelation. And as you mentioned, Fred, like there's this growth that's taking place even with my daughter in the next 10 to 12, 13 years. And I want to make sure that I'm holding on to these messages that y'all sharing tonight, because this is where we're going.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't, God rest his soul, but I couldn't go to my father right now about this conversation.
Right.
Because he would tell me something different.
Right. But by you even doing and being acknowledging that's honoring your father, by realizing that the resources that he had are different than the ones that I have, and I will honor my last name by utilizing these resources to be the man that I want to be, and not the man that my father was. And a lot of people don't realize that my dad was the shit. I've always said that he was the shit, and I'm better than him. And what I mean by that, I'm emotionally grounded differently. My resources are different because that's what he wanted for me. And by me being better than him, I honor him. He is a stand-up dude. I can never be him, but I'm damn sure going to be the best Eric I could ever be. The best Eric, because that's all he ever wanted from me. And I'm going to honor him by being the best version of me. And what that means is I'm going to be vulnerable with my children. My son wrestles. He's been wrestling. I give him a hug. I say, how was practice? He said, I folded him up. What did you do? Give me the math. Give me the math. Because if you tell me it was aggression, I'm going to tell you you're lying. I'm going to tell you it was technique and skill set.
Yeah, he folded him up because he was the first one to the gym. He was the last one to leave.
He was
when everybody else would sleep on the weekend, he decided to put in some more work, right? That's the math.
Yeah.
Fred, you getting this, bro? Bro, the math.
I love it. There's a couple of things I'm getting from this. One thing is that you guys you have an infant daughter, and you have a 16-year-old. My daughter's 29. And one thing that occurs to me is that the things Eric is saying are still applicable, even to me. And my daughter is, 13 years older than his daughter. Wow. I have to, of course, I have to reprocess them and deliver. Yeah. He's talking about it in a different way because of the age difference in our kids. But fundamentally, the concepts are still the same. And encouraging our daughters to be successful. That's right. On different levels. His daughter, Eric's daughter, academically and athletically and socially. and extracurricularly after school and whatnot. And my daughter professionally and relationally, she's just recently been proposed to, so she's going to be married. So she's got all of that to look forward to. She's got an entirely new adventure to look forward to. So I'm still parenting. I'm just parenting at a different stage in somebody's life. And I still find value in what Eric is saying. And now when you get to the whole idea of performance and preparation and maturity, dedication, responsibility, when I parent and talk to them, when it comes to winning versus losing, and when you reference your son's wrestling match, winning should be pretty easy to take because, frankly, I want my kids, my daughter, to expect to win. So you don't have to do a lot of jumping up and down and moonwalking across the stage or pimping out of the classroom because you made an A.
That's right. Act like you've been there before.
That's what's supposed to happen, right? That's what you worked for. So when you get that test handed back and you see an A or A plus, it's like, you put that away and go on about your business and have fun because it's time now, right? It's your time now, right? Losing a B, A minus, whatever is losing for you academically or athletic or whatever. Now that should be a surprise.
Yeah.
Right? That should be a surprise, especially if you got outworked. There's no way in hell you're supposed to be outworked.
That should be a surprise.
There are people who are more talented. There's always people who are more talented. There's always people who are bigger, always people who are stronger, always people who are bigger and stronger at the same damn time. But nobody should be burning the midnight oil while you sleep.
No, not at all. That's balling backwards, bro. That's balling backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I mean, that relates, that hits home with me in two ways, what you were talking about. You should expect to win. You should expect
to win, bro.
Yeah, I've been adopting a new thing that one of my homeboys said to me, and what's his name? Your boy Baby said it. When he was doing that interview with Charlamagne the God, and he was like, "Man, put some respect on my name." Right. One of the things I've been telling my son and my daughter is, when you're out there doing your thing, what are you putting on our last name? What are you putting on that? Because if you're putting up there hardcore, then all you're going to get is hardcore. But if you're putting on there a receptiveness, an openness, with a healthy boundary, a firm understanding that the concept of self is developing. You don't know yet, but you know where it's heading towards. That's respecting my name. And that's what I want. I want them to always know you will evolve. The wise man knows he knows nothing, and I need you to know that you don't know. But what you do know is the variables in the equation that you're putting in there. And hopefully it will add up to what you think it should add up. And if it doesn't, then let's go back and reevaluate the math and have fun doing it. And that's the hardest thing, bro, to smile as you deal with defeat, to smile as you go back and reevaluate, re-engineer, reverse engineer it. How do you do that and find joy and knowing that you are trying to be better?
Man, that's dope, bro. That's dope. Hey, look, I just want to pause just parenthetically, man, and just say today is the 1-year anniversary, man, of a great, I don't know if y'all can see this.
Oh, yeah.
Of a great man who a great father. His daughter, we're talking about teenage years. His daughter Gianna was 13.
Yeah.
And so one of the greatest fathers, one of the greatest Black fathers to ever do it. I mean, those who know him closely talk about how much he had love for his daughters. He had no boys. I think he had what, 3 girls, 4 girls?
Yes. 3 girls.
3 girls, man, no boys, and just the love that he poured into his girls, man. And so I just want to just pause, man, and just say, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, to his beautiful daughter Gianna, and to the Bryant family and all that have known them personally, and those who from afar, like the 3 of us, have watched him grow, watched him develop, watched him mature. And in his latter years, man, really watched him be an amazing, amazing father. So it's not happenstance that we're on a live show January 26th, literally a year ago, when our lives was just shaken, bro. I mean, if you think about it, our lives was shaken, and then a month after the death of Kobe, we hit COVID. I mean, it was just back to back, man.
And you know when you say that, I'm sorry, Fred. Go ahead, Fred.
No, I was just thinking that COVID has made this past year such a blur. That hearing that this was the first year anniversary of that tragic loss of Cory and his daughter John, it just caught me off guard. I didn't realize the time had just flown by that fast. It seems like just a moment ago that we had heard the tragic news, and it's been
absolutely, man.
That's crazy. One of the things that I just had I had a counseling session right before this, right? And one of the things I was talking to this client about was life and death, and how those are both things that are promised. I think that the death of Kobe, it gives me an opportunity. I mean, he's provided me an opportunity to recognize that I am promised life and death, and that I live in between those two things. Mm-hmm. And I plan on living. I plan on giving. My mom always says give people flowers before they pass away. I don't know if she really be doing that. I ain't gonna hate on mom, but I don't know. I'm gonna give it. Here's what my people at work know. Every morning I'm gonna call on Teams and say, I love working with you. Give me a call if you need anything. You're a great person. Every day I say the same thing pretty much every day. I say the same thing to my children. You can be a leader or follower today. It is a choice. It's all about being in the moment, brother. I am not. So the past and the future they're illusions. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's right now is my purposeful behavior in the present moment. The fact that I get to talk to you brothers about this kind of stuff, about parenting, just enhances my desire to want to parent more effectively.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, man.
Good. Well, look, man, it's 60 minutes into it. We're gonna pause. This is what we do, man, when we having fun. And so a lot of you had comments. You were watching by 2 Facebook streams. You were watching by YouTube. Some of you will replay this later on in the week. We just appreciate you. Here's a nugget. I want some of you who are still listening to get excited about this. I shared this with Fred. This is when you went to go get that sloppy Joe Murph. But I have been in talks with a studio in Philadelphia this summer. We're going, all the guys, 6 of us are going to come to Philadelphia for a weekend, and we're going to shoot about 6-8 episodes.
Oh shit!
And so we're going to do that because we recognize that there's great synergy in just us being together, and you guys have felt it, and we're all in different places. We're all across the country, and we have formed a great bond, a great brotherhood, and it'll be even more exciting to be with these 5 gentlemen and the 6 of us be in the same studio and dropping knowledge. So this summer, get ready. We'll probably do it twice this summer. We'll do 6 episodes, and then we'll come back a few months after that and do like 6 more. We want to make sure that we're providing you all, cutting edge information that you are living, that you are able to see our lives through this microscope that we've been providing you. We ain't been like just giving you just surface level stuff. We're giving you microscopic stuff. We're letting you in the insides of not just our homes, but the inside of our hearts.
That's right.
Right. So that's to come. Y'all get excited about that because we're taking this whole thing to another level. We're going on the road from his lips to her ears. Black men raising daughters in this series. But when we get to this summer, we'll probably have some other things we're doing. We'll come back to this. Black men raising daughters. We'll get back to relationships. We know a lot of y'all out there like, man, I married the wrong one. Where is the right one? We get it. And so we'll get back to those conversations.
My dog is somebody else's dog.
That's Murph's, man. His dog be excited about the show. That's what it is. Every week, it's like, yo, Murph, put me on the
show. Get a tour bus.
It's my son out in the hallway messing with the basset hound, man.
Oh yeah.
We need to get a tour bus and like do some town halls. Just go from
dope,
go to Philly, go to Atlanta.
Don't put that out there to Jason because Jason will make that happen.
I will.
I'll take a sabbatical from work. I'll go on the road. Get a chef though.
Look, Jason will make T-shirts and all kinds of stuff and keep all the profits. He's gonna make multiple streams of revenue.
We have to get something in writing though. I see now we have to get something in writing. Say we have
They makes it happen, brother.
Well, look, we back on here next week, man. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, part part 6 of Black Men Raising Daughters. Bruhs, man, it's been icy tonight. I just appreciate the two of y'all. It has just been super.
Alpha man up in the building, son.
Oh man, I'm excited. But look, we'll have the fellas with us next week. I think they're on travel. Reggie had something that he was doing. Lamar and Cory are on travel. So we'll have the whole crew next week. But thank y'all for being a part of this. Thank you, listeners, for being a part of this, always tuning in and showing us love. We appreciate y'all. Until next week, take care.
Deuces.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you, man. Peace, bros. Oh, 06.
Revolution.